Oh no. Leland, don't you touch, no, Cheryl, no, Cheryl, bad Cheryl. This is, no, oh, I know where this is going, this is bad. Oh my god, she's having sex with a demon. You are having demon sex.
Why is she having sex with a demon?
It is, I can't mess it. And it's on fire. What the hell? Literally, what the hell? You know, she's so lonely and she has to have sex of all people. No, this is bad. All right, let's get into the episode. What's up, evil fam? Holy crap. There's a lot to talk about. We have so much to talk about that happened in this episode. It turns out this actual case wasn't as exciting as what was actually happening with Kristen in her personal life and Grandma Cheryl. We're actually going to switch back to my webcam because this case is a bit complicated and complex, and I want to take my time to stop and speculate and discuss, and there's a whole lot to talk about, so let's go and check out the episode, starting from the very beginning. Alright, so the episode starts off with a car ride. Ben looks like the child in the middle between two parents who have been fighting. Yes, mom and daddy are fighting. In the last episode, David and Kristen were not too happy with each other because, as we know, Kristen went and did that little holy water switcheroo, and David was not happy that she did not consult him on it, but she did prove a point, and Ben's face is pretty priceless here. They are going to see a prophet. This is a first for David, so let's go meet her. And this prophet is profiting in a romper room, basically. She tells a woman her home is in danger, and this is our prophet right here. So this prophet talks to God, very slowly apparently, and sometimes God can sound like a fortune cookie. Yeah, I don't blame them for having this reaction. I think that reaction is pretty spot on to how I'd react to that. Of course, Ben has to ask her if Jeffrey Epstein's death was a suicide. Apparently it wasn't, and he did die by somebody smothering him with a pillow, according to this prophet. He had to get that question in there. That was very, very important. Now, things just get a little bit weirder here, and they start to become more and more bizarre. Like, her way of talking to God, to get answers, she has to blow into a beach ball. Well, ask God a question for me. Let me blow up my beach ball first, and then I'll get back to you. Now, according to her beach ball, David is in danger. Apparently, they know about David's visions, and they want to stop him. And Kristen has to avoid the color red. Okay then. Yeah, so the priest is not happy about this prophet. This prophet is a potential threat to the Catholic Church. We're going to learn about that in a little bit. He really wants David and Kristen and Ben to debunk this prophet. So there are lots and lots of people that claim to be prophets, but of course they want to know why this one specifically is being investigated by the church. At this point, the priest isn't giving them any more details as to why he wants them to investigate this particular prophet. So they decide to go and compare her prophecies with facts. So David and Kristen finally have it out and argue a little more about their disagreement over the exorcism and the whole holy water incident. So basically they don't resolve anything here. Something weird happens after this. After the commercial break, it goes back to this discussion again, and Kristen and David become a little bit more heated in this argument. And then some crazy stuff starts to happen, which I knew as soon as it started to happen that it was a dream. So basically they're having these same arguments. Well, they just start making out. Don't tell me that the show writers are not messing with it and teasing it. They're teasing us. Yeah, they're teasing us. They want us to ship these two, even though it's probably not a good thing considering she's married and he wants to become a priest. And his shirt came off like super fast. I've never seen a guy's shirt come off that fast and that smoothly before. So in this dream slash fantasy, David says this is wrong. They both know it's wrong. Obviously it is wrong, but she's still having this fantasy. After a few more smooches, Kristen turns around and agrees it's not right. So then we see David move off to the side, and then we see George appear in front of her. I don't know why any type of sexual or intimate experience has to have some type of demon involved, but that's the way it works on this show. There cannot be sex or anything romantic happening without a demon interrupting. Although I'm kind of happy to see George again. We did miss him. Of course, it is a nightmare. So the phone rings, and who could it be? Oh look, it's Mom. I wonder what Mom is up to. So Kristen is having nightmares, and her mom is out dancing with the devil. Meanwhile, Kristen and David are investigating a prophecy, and apparently she predicted the prophecy of a sinkhole. The prophecy was, leave your home, it's in danger of falling into the darkness. So she did, and what happened? It happened, a sinkhole happened, yeah. So she predicted something, or it was either really, really, really dumb luck. Now, of course, our favorite skeptic, Ben, is skeptical about this. He believes that it's just her basic senses that played a factor in her predicting the sinkhole. It had nothing to do with God telling her this. There are people that have a natural intuition that are able to put things together and predict things just based on scientific evidence. Kristen, for somebody who is not a believer, you're certainly taking some precautions, but I guess I can't blame her. You don't ever want to tempt fate. Who would want to tempt fate? Someone tells you to stay away from the color red, and yeah, maybe you should stay away from the color red. Grandma enters the kitchen in the morning and she is super happy. Why is she happy? Because of Leland, and she wants Kristen to meet her demon boyfriend. So Leland will be joining them for dinner at 6 o'clock. So Kristen visits her shrink to talk about the exorcism. She also tells him about the sexual fantasy turned into nightmare. She does not disclose the information about what or who this sexual fantasy was about. Just that her favorite incubus, George, interrupted it. So there's something actually called lucid dreaming. It's a way of controlling your dreams. The technique suggested is for her to tie a blue string around her wrist, and every hour on the hour, set your iPhone to buzz. And then you wake up, if you look at your wrist and you're wearing the blue thing, you'll know that you're awake. There's no way you're gonna get any good sleep this way. You're basically gonna be waking up in and out of sleep and in and out of a dream. For me, I feel like that would make my dreams 10 times more trippy. But it's supposed to make you aware that you are dreaming when you're dreaming, so that it puts you in control of your dream so you can control what happens in your dream. So Kristen and David go back to visit the prophet. Okay, so things get really personal really quickly because Kristen obviously wants some answers about her daughter, because that's probably the most concerning thing in her life right now, her daughter's health. Of course, in order to get a little bit more detail, our prophet here has to consult with blowing up the dolphin. The answer is yes, her daughter is going to be okay. Of course, Kristen is not too thrilled about the fact that the answer was delivered through the air of a dolphin, or through blowing up a dolphin. I don't know, some type of flotation device. So our prophecy is drawing something here, and we'll get into this in a little bit. So based on Kristen's tests, she did not score as intuitive. Once again, David wants to know why they are investigating. So the priest pulls out a book. He calls it the Pavilion Codex. Huh? What is a Pavilion Codex? So the reason why we haven't heard of this is because, well, we're not supposed to have heard of it. It's a secret that only people within the church know about. These are prophecies, 15 pages of prophecy. The only reason why this priest has a copy of this is because some of these prophecies have been predicted by the prophet that they're investigating. So apparently only the popes have seen these prophecies themselves. So how would this woman, who is their prophet in Brooklyn, be able to predict these same prophecies? And apparently she was able to match what the prophet had written word for word. The Vatican wants them to investigate whether or not she's telling the truth, and they'd rather she were not telling the truth, because the truth is bad news for the church and everyone, apparently. So in the next scene, it appears that Kristen is at her house having a discussion on the phone with David. Her iPhone goes off and does the buzz, and then she checks on her wrist. She doesn't have the little string that she tied around it. Yeah, so that pretty much means she's dreaming, right? Oh, look who's on the ceiling. It's George. George is on the ceiling. And Kristen knows she's dreaming at this point because, well, George doesn't appear in person. So she realizes she can control this dream, and the next thing you know, she is hiking on what looks like Mount Everest. And we hear someone call Kristen, and I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be her husband that's calling her. And he's asking, who is it? Up ahead, who is it? At the other end of the rope, it's our buddy George. So then Kristen is back in her house again. She goes in her daughter's room and George is there. Now she calls him on being in her dream, and then he starts growling at her. What does George want? Well, he just wants a bite. Ow! Demons that bite are not nice demons, okay? So it's good that Kristen woke up at this point, otherwise George probably would have kept biting her. Meanwhile, David has figured out the reason why this codex was hidden in the Vatican is because it predicts the end of the Catholic Church. So this is not good for anyone in the Vatican, obviously. So their only hope is that Grace is a false prophet, because if she's a false prophet, then that means it's not the end of the Catholic Church. So of course David interviews her again. So David brings up the question, what if this voice is not God that she's hearing? What if it's Lucifer, something more sinister? And David, as we know, something talks to him, someone talks to him, and he's not sure what it is, whether it's God or not. And we know about David's stars. Well, he shows her a picture of the 3 stars that he's been seeing in his visions. And there we are, the 3 stars that David sees in his visions. Grace identifies these 3 stars as the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. David wants to know why they're on Earth. According to Grace, this is not Earth that they are on. They are on some type of triangle. Honestly, I don't know what the heck this all means. If you guys have any idea what this means, please leave a comment below and enlighten me, because I'm a little bit lost here. Well, I guess when you need answers, you can just Google triangles and turn to your favorite old magic mushroom tea. Well, something's floating. There are 2 objects floating here, and it looks like there are stars. What is this? Yeah, so what is this? What does this mean? I don't have a decoder ring for this, so I really need help here, guys. So while David's having this vision in his mushroom trip, Kristen comes to see him. Yeah, good timing, Kristen. David's high as Yeah, so something really weird happens. He goes to answer the door, and when he puts his hand on the knob, he turns back to the bed and looks, and he sees a vision of himself waking up on the bed. And look, he's looking at himself waking up at the bed. Kristen has discovered that the gaps aren't random. They fit into the codex. Well, David thinks this is the funniest thing in the world because he's high AF. Now, these things that Grace drew fit into the holes of where there were holes in these actual codex. So basically, the prophet here is filling in the gap. It doesn't take Kristen very long to figure out that David is like super high and not right because he's laughing and talking very out of character. She looks kind of amused by all of this. I don't know. I don't blame her. But then something really disturbing happens. David turns around and he sees this. What the hell is this? What is it? This is horrifying. Is this like a tiny little shadow man with a lot of hair? He looks really scary. What is that? It's moving. It just moved. So David asks this thing, who are you? Oh boy, Grandma's getting ready to meet Leland, and Leland is getting ready to meet the family. Leland comes bearing flowers, and he's early because he couldn't wait to meet everyone. He's not much of a cook, but he made some food for everyone. So Leland is up in the girls' room, singing and chanting a Dance with the Devil type song. I have to tell you, I waited this whole episode, and I have been highly anticipating Kristen's reaction here, and it did not disappoint. It was perfect. Kristen, meet Leland, your mom's new boyfriend. Uh-oh. Kristen, what are you doing here? Of course, Leland says very sarcastically that he never connected Cheryl and Kristen. He is a little antagonizing fart ball of snake venom. Yeah, so Kristen is horrified and infuriated. Michael Emerson is so good at playing this type of role where he is like a little weasel. Like, he's supposed to be a good guy, but he's a bad guy, and he's completely and totally manipulating everybody. Oh yeah, that's right. This is what I've been waiting for. Thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is just great. What a small world. Look, Cheryl, she knows Leland. Leland and Cheryl know each other. Oh, and Leland and Kristen know each other. Kristen is not having any of it. Yes, she's like outside now. She grabs the frickin' knife. Oh, what a badass move. So step into Kristen's office, Leland. She's going to threaten your life. She has got that knife right on his throat, and she actually cuts it. Oh, she actually cut his throat a little bit. Oh, she's not messing around. Are you guys surprised that he bleeds? Like, if he's a demon, wouldn't he be kind of immortal and not have to go to the hospital? Now, she didn't cut him enough to kill him, but she cut him enough to the point where he will bleed to death if he doesn't go to the ER and get stitches within 20 minutes. Oh, that smile on his face, that is so telling. He is loving every minute of all of this because he's bringing this behavior out in Kristen that is kind of out of character. He loves it. He loves it. Look how happy he is. And also, he's turned on by it. He seems to fancy Kristen. Ugh, talk about gross demon guy going after your mother and daughter. Ugh. So Leland is not to see her mom, not to come to the house, and to stay the hell away from her. Yeah, so thing is, how do you go into a ER with a neck wound and not explain what happened? Because usually, if something like that happened, any type of stab wound, they want to get the police involved because that's not normal. But Kristen has no regrets because Leland is a snake and a master manipulator. So Kristen has to throw out the food that Leland made because who knows what the hell he put in it. He might be trying to kill everyone for all we know. Why are we not having dinner anymore? We're gonna have pizza and we're gonna eat it in our room. Cheryl's not too happy about this. Of course, she wants to go and see Leland at the hospital and make sure he's okay. Cheryl is skeptical. It's kind of a really bad situation because Leland has now inserted and infiltrated Kristen's life and put her at odds with her mother. Cheryl is not having it. She's not listening to Kristen. She doesn't want to believe that he's a psychopath or a bad man or any of the things that Kristen tells her he is. Also, Leland gave the girls these presents. They are diaries with unicorns. I don't think that's a unicorn. Does that look like a unicorn to you? What is this exactly? Can someone tell me? Because I cannot identify it. It looks like a pig with a candle inside of it. Yeah, so the kids aren't keeping those diaries. This entire situation stresses Kristen out quite a bit, so she tries to call David. His voicemail picks up. So the next morning, when David isn't high, they take Kristen's findings of filling in the gaps of these pages that were missing. But apparently she has filled in the holes of other pages that he has not shown them, so he may be keeping something from them, like more pages. And they're right, this was only part of the codex. The codex has a lot more pages. Turns out, when they decoded these pages, this prophecy is not about the Catholic Church ending, it's actually about the world ending. The priest wants them to get back to Grace so that she can continue to fill in the gaps for the missing holes on the different pages, all of them. Naturally, Ben is skeptical about Grace being a prophet and this entire thing being orchestrated by the church. He believes that these documents were probably leaked to thousands of people that have done the exact same thing that Grace did, which is fill in the gaps for where these holes were. His argument is if something's secret, there's a good chance it's going to get out because people like to share secrets. It's really, really hard to keep secrets. He also brings up some very good points about the corruption that exists within the Catholic Church with all of the pedophilia and the priests and all the scandals that they faced in recent years. Meanwhile, Kristen and David have a conversation about David's little mushroom tea trip, and David tells Kristen all about the visions that he's had and how he accesses God. Now, here's where I got a little bit disappointed in Kristen. David actually asked her why she called him last night, and she doesn't tell him about Leland. It's really disappointing because they had just said in this conversation, when Leland brought up how David saw God the second time, he was hinting at these mushroom tea trips that he has. So they had just finished literally talking about Leland, and she doesn't even mention it to him. And I don't know why. She just tells David it was nothing and that she took care of it, and she walks away. Maybe she's embarrassed by her mom's conduct. Maybe she doesn't want David to get involved in her family at all. I'm not quite sure. Maybe it was just too personal. I'm not sure, but it's kind of frustrating that she didn't even tell him. So the three of them go back to the daycare center to find Grace, and she's not there. So it turns out ICE has raided the daycare center, taken a few kids, and Grace included. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this seems very, very convenient. Somebody called ICE on Grace, I think. It could have been anyone, but I believe it was either someone within the Catholic Church or Leland, someone that we know. Or it could have just been a random religious nut that didn't want a false prophet out into the world, or what they thought was a false prophet out into the world. So Kristen even plays the recording for her mom of Leland saying the horrible things that he did. Now we know that Ben actually doctored and made a deep fake of this recording, even though Leland had already said it. For some reason, when Kristen was recording, it didn't pick it up. But he did say these things. And Cheryl doesn't believe it. She's just not having it. She's completely deaf to what Kristen is saying. It's a very frustrating situation for us and Kristen because we know that he is bad. Everyone knows that he's bad, but she doesn't want to believe it. Kristen tells Cheryl she cannot date him. She doesn't really say anything, but she looks very disappointed and leaves. David goes to visit Grace at the ICE containment center to see if she can fill in more of these codex, which she does almost immediately start to fill in the holes on this codex that David shows her. And if you guys didn't notice, I'm sure you did, it seems like these prison guards are noticing right away what she's doing. This guy too, like both of them are noticing what she's doing. And they're even consulting each other about it. So they interrupt her and they stop her because obviously they don't like what's happening. She holds it up to the window so that David can see. She hands it to the guard and tells it to give it to David. And he doesn't. He actually gives it to one of the other guards. These guys are very suspiciously nosy about this. And he throws it in the trash. Leland has brought Brandy to Cheryl so that they can hang out and do demon things. Leland asks for one last kiss and they end up making out and having demon sex, which we don't need to repeat because I showed you guys at the beginning of this video. I don't know if this bed is really on fire or if this is supposed to be symbolic, but either way, it's quite disturbing. So Cheryl wakes up the next morning and Leland is still there. I guess he stayed the night, which is a good sign for her, bad sign for us. Of course, she needs to put on a new outfit for the day, but what color outfit is she going to pick? Oh yeah, she's going to pick the one red dress. Out of all the different choices, red is the one she wants. And she seems pretty happy about it. So that is the end of our episode. I have so many thoughts, but a lot of confusion and a lot of questions. Who is that creepy man that was in David's room? That thing that he talked to? Who called ICE on Grace? Was Grace a prophet? What do you think? I'm not sure because we don't really have any answers to that question because probably Grace was deported, I assume. What about the guards? What kind of role did they play in all of this? Did the Catholic Church play any type of role in this? And what is Leland's endgame with Cheryl? It looks like he's trying to corrupt Cheryl, but it looks like he's also trying to create discord between Cheryl and her daughter, Kristen. I don't know, but this episode was nuts, and I do want to hear your feedback. So leave a comment down below and let me know what you thought. And if you're new here, subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting a recap of every episode every week, and I do recaps for other shows too, so if you're interested in checking those out, please do so. If you're an X-Files fan, I have loads of X-Files videos on here, which kind of reminds me of this series a little bit, so that's why I like it so much. Anyways, thanks again for watching, you guys. You can follow me on Twitter at LauriceF, live tweet along with me when the show airs, and we will interact and become friends. Until next time, I will see you guys later.